Good morning, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, and welcome back to the studio. Hey, welcome back, babe.
Welcome back, Graham.
Hey.
Social distance high five.
Yeah. How's everyone doing? I see there's a lot of people in chat already. Good morning. Mike with the early sub as well. Very much appreciate that. What a way to start the day. A tier 1 sub, 4 months back to back. Much appreciated, Mike. How's things? And West, the most 10-ish episode in a long time. As mentioned, only because we're in the studio. We actually would have been earlier. The only reason we're not is because I had a Windows update to do on my laptop, and my laptop's like, no.
Good said no.
But thank you very much for the host, West. Tito, how festive. Is that the jumper? That's because it's Christmas jumper day on Friday. I need to put my jumper down now. I've pulled it up. Christmas jumper day on Friday. But I'm not going to be in the office. So, yeah, look at that. There you go. Home alone. So, I'm not in the office. Today's the only day that I'm going to be in the office in the studio. So I thought I'd wear my Christmas jumper, just like Bibi did. Oh.
No, this is a Christmas jumper because I'm wearing it in December, and it's a jumper.
Well, I'll give you off.
There's your theory.
Nice. I like the logic. But welcome in. How is everyone doing? If you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved. If you don't know who we are, let me show you. Ta-da! My name's Graham, this is Bibi, and we together are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some people may say the UK's number uno. One, yeah, that's it. Numero uno video game podcast, even though we are the people that say that. It still counts anyway. We're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories in the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions in return, so we can have a little bit of a discussion, a back and forth. And if you are in the chat, as we are usually each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. on the money. Ish. So we go live around 10-ish each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. And if you are live with us, you can get involved in the chat. And it's important that you do, because we turn this into a podcast, a video on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So please feel free to use your voice on behalf of those that are watching and listening a little bit later on. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was just about to jump into our like extra little talking points. Exclamation mark giveaway. Finished.
Yeah, Romeo done.
So shout out to Epic Skill who won that. He bagged himself the 2K Games package and a Muscle Moose selection box. He has his 2K Games. A big shout out to Asim and the lovely people at 2K UK. Yeah. And Muscle Moose are currently in the process of setting up his package for delivery. And the other one, exclamation mark Cyberpunk, has been done. So Gagad won the exclamation mark Cyberpunk prize yesterday. We still need to sort that out for him, but obviously the game's not out yet, so we can't do that yet. But speak of the devil, good morning Gagad, the winner of the prize. Congrats, by the way. We will have another loot drop prize for next month, so that will be announced in the coming weeks. But yeah, stick around for that. If you're a sub, then plenty more things to come. And if you're not a sub, then we'll have other giveaways as well, which is nice. Before that, one other message. Someone's birthday soon, do you think? Is it? Oh, it's not until next year, sorry.
It's not until next year. Yeah. Apparently it was last week, and then next week, and then, well, it's actually tomorrow.
But yeah, Bibi's birthday tomorrow, and he's abandoning us. Don't even care, mate.
Don't worry, I'm here. I'm still doing the scoop tomorrow.
Just so you can get all of the loves. Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, yeah, obviously. And then Thursday, I'll still be doing the scoop, so that's still something to look forward to. And then Friday you're on your own, and Monday you're on your own.
The inverted dollop.
There you go. We got dollops for days.
Anyway, let's jump into the news. We do have to fly through things because we have all sorts of meetings and stuff scheduled in for IRL work off stream today, so we'll pick up the pace a little bit. Before we do, West says I'm impressed. I think that's just an in general thing, if I'm being honest. I don't know if that's anything specific.
Aren't you back streaming again today, Wes?
He is apparently. Although it was with a caveat. It was like, was it depending on things, but he was potentially streaming this Tuesday, next Tuesday, and maybe the one after?
Shagger.
Nice. If I can, in between meetings, I will jump in. I will say hello. Mr. Jim Butter says, I'm not used to this studio, only been watching you guys in your rooms. Studio sounds more dodgy than I meant. Well, he has been watching us in our rooms. This isn't even the full sort of studio setup, so I can give you the wide cam sort of like view, which gives you a little bit more of the idea of what it is, but we have a big desk with TV mounted on it that sits in the middle of the studio there, but
it's deeply upsetting not being able to use it. Like, these chairs are very comfortable, but for short periods of time. They're just nowhere near as good as what the studio could be. I mean, if you look back through our VODs from this time last year, you'll see how different the studio was with the big desk and that. But
the mic on the boom arm and the studio is nice as it is. It's definitely much better when it's fully kitted out. So yeah, nice. Anyway, catching up. Was not going to buy PS5, but my PS4 almost died today, and now all of a sudden I'm wanting to buy PS5 because of Cyberpunk. FOMO. Well, if you want to know about Cyberpunk, stick around because that is the start of the day. We'll give you a review roundup for that. Before we do that, let's finish off the comments. Good morning, gents. Sorry I'm late. A few celebratory drinks last night. Hick, says Gaggad. Well done. That's what we like to see. Morning, Mr. Gary Clark, and oh my God. Well, I'm not reading anything for the first news article.
Okay. Has it just died because it's got no power?
No, it's got power. It's plugged in, unless it's actually not turned on. Which is probably the case. It's not turned on now.
There's a plug socket right behind you. That's what I've got mine plugged into, if that helps.
Okay, that is turned on. What? That's got power. What?
Okay, technical difficulties here.
So I will be back. Okay, that's just not got any power. That's strange. Despite having power.
It all goes off on ice cream uploads. I mean, Graham is out of shot at this moment in time. So you're just seeing my lovely ungelled hair.
Just a dodgy plug in the extension. So I will be back with working laptop shortly. But yeah, need to come back on now.
Rip laptop.
Yeah. It's not the first time that it's fallen off this chair arm, literally while we've been live on stream as well. It's fallen off many times. So hopefully it's fine.
I want to know how it works on PS5 instead of PS4. That's something that we may be able to clear up in these reviews. But the thing is, like, to buy a brand new PS4, I'm sure they're like, to buy a brand spanker, is it like 200-300 quid, and then to buy a PS4 Pro is like 350 quid or something like that. So you could get a digital PS5 instead.
There has to be some change in that situation in terms of that is the case, but surely they've dropped off some now because I mean maybe they've not. Maybe the supply and demand element of the PS5 has meant that the PS4 Pros have kept their 349 price tag or whatever. So it's like, well, you can't get anything else. You get that or nothing.
Yeah.
Which is basically in-store scalping, which is.
Oh, speaking of which, I forgot to mention this yesterday. So I posted a picture on Sunday of my CEX haul of PSP games that I ended up picking up. £2.50's worth. Amazing games that are in the list as well. But as I'm paying, I'm seeing a bloke behind the counter on a PC looking on eBay at how much PS5s are going for, and I tried to take a picture, but he was staring at me as I've got my phone like this, trying to take a picture of him looking at prices on the PC.
What, he was going to buy someone's PS5 and he was seeing how much they were going for? Is that what it was?
I'm not sure because he wasn't speaking to anyone about it. I know he just turned round as I'm finishing, like, paying for my stuff, saying, yeah, that's the going rate for him. But I didn't hear the discussion beforehand, so I don't know whether or not he was looking at how much the going rate for is on eBay so they can price match, or he's trying to buy them to be able to sell for an extra 150 quid or something. But I've seen it with my own eyes, and I really, really, really wanted to take the picture just to post it on social media and go, you dirty bastard.
You should have just done it. You should have just gone, fuck.
I didn't want to get banned from my local CEX because now I'm going to pick up my 50p shit games anymore.
Sorry, I've got a CEX of Salford Precinct. I'll just do it.
But yeah, I witnessed it with my own eyes. Someone looking at eBay to see what the going rate is for PlayStation 5s.
See, that's the horrendous thing. That's the reason why CEX were featured the other day to be. The
episode did very well, by the way.
What, the one where
was it Friday's episode or Thursday? Or was it the Wednesday when you? I can't remember, but I think at the time when I sent it you yesterday, I had like 280 views on YouTube. So
shout out to the YouTube massive.
So it did very well, but yeah, I witnessed with my own eyes the scummery that was happening in CEX.
God damn it. God damn it. Anyway, I'm back now, so we won't keep you waiting any longer. Are we set to go?
Yep.
I can't remember what button I'm pressing.
Console.
Actually, no, yeah, console with Pip. No, it's nice. It's game frame. That's what we want.
E.
Yes, there we go. Pip, we will go down there. So, this article written...
Left.
Oh, left. Oh, yeah. This article written by Tom Ivan at VGC says Cyberpunk 2077 review roundup. Critics award mostly high scores despite bugs. So the RPG hits consoles and PC this Thursday. As Gagad will know more than anyone. Cyberpunk 2077 reviews have gone live ahead of the game's release this week. In VGC's Cyberpunk 2077 review, which was based on our time with the PC version of the game, our critic Andy Robinson called it a stunning achievement if you can overlook the glitches. The game currently has a 90 Metascore on review aggregation site Metacritic based on 32 PC reviews. Cyberpunk 2077 will initially be released for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It will be playable on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S via backwards compatibility, with a proper, full-blown next-gen version planned for release next year. You can pre-order Cyberpunk from places. So this is their review roundup a little bit further down. VGC, which is this site, gave it a 5 out of 5, an immersive and stunningly crafted RPG which has raised the bar for cinematic quality in open-world games. GameSpot, 7 out of 10. Cyberpunk 2077 has standout side quests and strong main characters, though its buggy, superficial world and lack of purpose bring it down. VG247, 5 out of 5. With so much to see and do, Cyberpunk 2077 is the kind of RPG where you blink and hours go by, which is just what we need to finish off 2020. PC Games news. PC Games Engine gave it a 9 out of 10. Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't surpass its brilliant influences, but in Night City, Johnny Silverhand and its chilling vision of hyper-capitalism, it claims territory of its own. Games Radar, 5 out of 5. What Cyberpunk 2077 lacks in core campaign length, it makes up for with depth and soul, offering a world of intrigue and violence unlike any other. The Verge, no score. Cyberpunk is frequently satisfying, sometimes impressive game, but despite its setting in the fast-moving future, it's almost never a surprising one. I'm going to see if I can find something that offers anything a little bit
PC Gamer.
different. PC Gamer, 78 out of 100. Some nice character stories nested in an astounding open world, undercut by jarring bugs at every turn. And then we'll jump to Venture Beat because it's a low one at the end. I think that Cyberpunk 2077 delivers the big budget game thrills that many people are looking for, but it falls short in a few key areas for me, and that comes and a lot of that comes as a byproduct of its ambition. Bib, Cyberpunk, a lot of 9s out of 10, some 10s out of 10, 5s out of 5s, so 9s and 10s is what we're looking at. Thoughts?
First of all, nice one, Pirate, for hosting us. Thank you very much, Shagger. Very much appreciate that. So back into the reviews now. I think there may... I haven't seen anything, and there's a lot of people that are only playing this on PC. That's slightly worrying for me, considering the PR agency that did so well to try and, promote the game whilst keeping people's... keeping us up to date, shall we say, with things like obviously being delayed and what to expect and when to expect it. So, does that translate to people's scores, taking in not just how the game plays, but its overall press release and reception of the game? I'm not too sure. However, I think there is a lot of rose-tinted glasses that could be happening. I won't notice it myself until I play it. With a game like this, I slept on Days Gone for an eternity. It feels like 2017. I think that came out. Was it? Or was it 2018?
Maybe 2018.
2018. That came out, and I've only just started playing it, as in 3 weeks ago, and I'm having an absolute blast. Fair enough. At the time when that came out, it was buggy as all hell. It was jarring. There was motorbikes whizzing past, and you couldn't hear them because there was no audio issues, glitches. The AI doing weird shit. And that got absolutely battered for it. Like, the Metacritic was so low for it, and eventually it started to pick back up again when they patched it to high hell. This, however, seems to have been... They're not really... The bugs seem irrelevant, which I find very hard to believe, especially when a lot of the reviews if you look at the reviews themselves, claim there is bugs at every single turn, like the one from PC Gamer saying they're undercut by jarring bugs at every turn. That seems to be in a lot of people's reviews. Maybe not from the top line ones that we're seeing here next to it, but if you dig deeper into the reviews themselves, which, by the way, feel free to do, go to your favourite news outlet, have a read for yourself. Obviously, these are the ones that VGC have rounded up very nicely for us to be able to deliver to you on a podcast show. But a lot of them are complaining about the bugs that are either game breaking or breaking immersion of the game. How are they allowing it to be glossed over compared to other games? Is it due to hype? Is it due to their love of CD Projekt Red games with the likes of The Witcher previously, which seems to be, well, it was everyone's favourite game, and it's still being sold now. So are they allowing them to get away with it because of that?
I mean, that is a good question. So obviously, CD Projekt Red are the largest or most financially grossing company in Europe at the moment, with properties that are dominating on TV and media, if you can call Netflix TV, and video games. Days Gone is a title that maybe isn't as good as The Last of Us and things like that, but is definitely still up there if you speak to a large number of people. So is there a case of that? I mean, that's potentially something that could happen. So the case being that Days Gone, yeah, it's from Sony. Yeah, it's a very well respected publisher, but it's a new IP in a genre that's been done and is happily mocked now. If you do video games with zombies, it's quite hard to do one that people will take seriously.
Yeah.
The Last of Us, well, I suppose it's not zombies, but it is zombies. That gets taken seriously. Days Gone got punished for it very, very heavily. Is that because it's just another zombie game and it's another Sony game, whereas this, having bugs in it and still getting 9 out of 10s like that where was the I mean, PC Gamer gave it a 78 to be fair, so they did mark it down. But there some of the other ones where it does mention bugs and it's still getting decent scores across the board. Like if multiple reviews, so GameSpot have marked it down. I'm assuming that's for the bugs. If multiple reviews are seeing bugs in it and it's still getting 100% scores, 5 out of 5 from Windows Central, 5 out of 5 from the Gamer, 9.5 out of 10 from Stiviver, 9 out of 10 for PC Games, 5 out of 5 for Games Radar, 5 out of 5 for VGC, 5 out of 5 for VG247. It's definitely a good game.
Yeah,
it's definitely a good game.
No denying that at all.
But why does that get consistently high scores despite being buggy? And we're not even touching about the fact that it's only on PC yet, which is something that we will touch on separately because that's quite a long conversation in itself. How does it get 100% if it's not perfect?
Well, the scores that they're giving are perfect scores. If you're giving your game 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 9 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 9.5 out of 10, they're very close to being perfect scores. Realistically, if I was to review anything, this is why I'm not a video game journalist, because I play so many shit games that just as long as the game doesn't crash or break as I'm playing it, I will happily play in a game with bugs. The amount of shit games I have played over the years where things just don't
so
work.
many.
Yeah. I mean, most of them are probably streamed on this channel, but there is a lot of shit games that I've played over the years where games it just people will walk through the wall, or it just weird shit happens, but I'll grin and bear it, I'll just carry on. It doesn't bother me. But I don't know how, as a video game journalist, you can give a game the best score possible if there is shit that breaks the game. I mean, that doesn't seem right to me.
The only thing I can take from that is that the game is just that good. In terms of, if the game is getting 10 out of 10s, 5s out of 5s, that is based on it being an experience. Not so much the perfect game. I mean, that's why I was saying to you earlier on, I don't like numbers.
Yeah.
I like a number because it's so easy. If you tell me a game's 10 out of 10, I know that means it's good. Whereas if I have to sit there and read a paragraph of why you think it's good, that's usually more qualitative information. The 10 out of 10 is quantitative. So that could be a case of, yes, there are issues in it. They don't destroy your experience.
Absolutely.
You still have an incredible cast, incredible characters, incredible storyline, incredible narrative. If that is the case, I don't know. it's hard to judge a game that you've not touched,
Exactly.
that you haven't played it yourself, which is then when we can kind of jump into the second bit. That wouldn't really be a conversation for me. I'd be like, okay, it's got some 5s. It's got some 5s out of 5s, and it's got some 7 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Great, alright, some people like it, some people don't, that's fine. It's got some bugs, and some people haven't really noticed it. Okay, that's fine. I absolutely adored Jedi Fallen Order, my game of the year last year. Shitloads of bugs when I was playing that. Not as many as the people that play it right on the first day, but still bugs there. Didn't fuss me, still my game of the year.
Yeah.
The bit though that comes off that is the situation around the video game itself. So, having worked on numerous releases across numerous different games, I've worked on video games that have been released without any forms of review codes being given out in the past. And some of those because the game wasn't going to be very good.
Yeah.
One that sounds a bit like Schmide to Schmel Schmettribution, maybe, I don't know. So I've seen different ways of that being done. So to give you a bit of context, Cyberpunk was only reviewed on PC.
Yeah.
And usually what happens is a news outlet will say, can we get PlayStation and Xbox and PC or whatever, can we get 2 PlayStation copies, and because they might have 2 different people that are reviewing it, and or someone like CD Projekt Red will go, how many do you want? And then I'd go, okay, 1 for me, 1 for Bib, 1 for Lee, 1 for Mark, and blah, blah, blah. Whereas in this instance, CD Projekt Red said you can have 1 code for 1 person per outlet, and it will only be on PC, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I have to add in that happens all the time. But not for a game of CD Projekt Red's quality. As much as people can say that, as I've just said, that does happen all the time. But this is a video game where we've been heavily marketed for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. So it's still a decision they can make. It just seems bizarre that they would make a decision to hold back the number of copies. Not so much the PC one, because I'm fine with that. In terms of, they've said that it's gone gold.
Yeah.
There is a shitload of work that will happen afterwards. Okay, day 1 patch. If you give them a console version, maybe there are some significant bugs there that they can't overcome. In terms of, if I played that, I wouldn't enjoy it, and I'd get a 3 out of 10. But day 1 patch is the finished product, and if you play it on console, you can't get it. Okay, that's fine by me. I understand. All these reviews are on PC because PC, they can get that patch in first. They can't on the PlayStation. But why only 1? That's the bit that's bizarre, mate. And I think it's the internet. I think it is a witcher hunt.
Yeah.
I do think it is a bit of a witch hunt. I will be happy to say, and eat my words if it's not, because I'm getting the game. I will get the game. I will play the game. I'm still excited for the game. It's just,
I can't wait for it.
It's just such an unreal, like a surreal situation for a game that's been so forthcoming, so readily available, so marketed, to then at the last second just kind of almost like, it's that kickback, that pull back away from thing, which that's the bit. I think there is witch hunt in there. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people that want to see it fail.
Absolutely.
Just as much as there are probably a lot of people that are overhyping it because it's CD Projekt Red. There will always be both.
Yeah.
I think it's just the fact that it jars from the rest of their campaign that makes it feel odd to me.
So I know the answer to this already.
12.
But I'm going to ask you this for the sake of the people in the podcast and the people who are watching this live. Do scores in video games affect your decision of purchase?
Me, no. Opinions might affect them, but generally, I mentioned it before, Asim's there in the chat. Asim's got quite a lot of comments in the chat. We'll catch up on those shortly, but Asim's in the chat. Asim's opinion on a video game. So Asim obviously works in the games industry now, so he doesn't write games reviews. That would be a conflict of interest in that sort of sense now, because all of a sudden, if Asim reviewed WWE, it's like 72 out of 10.
Yeah.
God damn it, Asim.
Do better, Asim.
But someone like Asim, who I have met and spoke with many times, here in the chat and in person, someone like him, I know I can trust his opinion. Someone that I've not met, but I've got a solid foundation of like reading their content. Vicky Blake, Eurogamer, is a really good journalist, for example. I've never met her. I've spoken to her quite a bit on social media. I'd respect her opinion. And certain journalists like that, there are certain ones that you think, okay, and just like
reputable.
Just like there are certain journalists you'd think, fuck off. So, opinions, like information, will affect my influence my purchase.
Yeah.
Scores will not. If I see Eurogamer, which it could be a Vicky Blake article, or Wesleyan Poole, another great guy. Met him a few times at the PES stuff. Wesleyan Poole, like his stuff, particularly his taglines because they're funny as fuck. But if I see his article, and usually the paragraph at the end at least is what I need. A score won't really give me enough. A paragraph at least is what I need. But that's the thing. If I look at Metacritic and it says Eurogamer 8 out of 10, that could be Wesleyan Poole and Vicky Blake together giving an 8 out of 10. Not asked. I don't know the context. The score doesn't fuss me. That said, I know that I'm very different from a lot of people. I love the fact that, Eurogamer don't give numbers. Eurogamer have gone away from numbers, which kind of defeats the point of what I was saying. But a lot of people do like the Metacritic element. For me, it's never really been a big thing of journalism for me.
Well, considering review bombing's been a thing probably in the last 18 months. I mean, it's been going on for years, but I think it's started to come to the front over the last 18 months. And I think we'll start to see a lot of that going on with it's current gen consoles now, and it's not next gen. Current gen consoles, I think, with new exclusives that may be coming out. I've seen PlayStation post something yesterday, and I'm trying to rack my brain as to what it was, but I'm sure it was an Xbox game, that PlayStation. I'm going to see if I can find it frantically, but all the comments were from PlayStation fanboys underneath Xbox fanboys underneath a PlayStation post. I'm just thinking, why? It doesn't make any sense.
It's a piece of plastic.
Yeah, so it's mental.
Even with Cyberpunk, they've had it all the way through. We always play devil's advocate. We will tell you the negative stuff from a negative perspective, and we'll tell you the positive stuff from a positive perspective. We're not just going to feed you one narrative. You make your decision either way. But we've seen it all the way through with Cyberpunk. The game's too short. It's only 20, 25, 30 hours, something like that. And the reasoning for that is because they don't want it to be a Witcher game where a lot of people don't complete it. That's too short. That's bullshit. Yeah. Okay, the game's got 145 hours worth of content. I don't want to play it for 145 hours. That's bullshit. The people are always ready to review bomb or negative bomb if it's not reviewed. I don't know what you'd call that. Just downvote stuff on the internet.
Just for the sake of trying to fuel their agenda. I've just found what post it was, but it's something that I just touch on because it's an article that we're going to look at in a bit, but it's about Scott Pilgrim. That's obviously making a comeback, and it was, back in the day, an Xbox Live Arcade game. It was made specifically for that. PlayStation are going to be the ones that are going to be re-releasing it and packaging it up themselves, and people didn't like that, so others were just saying, shit console, dead console, no one cares, and it's like, you're trying to bring something down that Xbox has let expire, or they just didn't renew the license. That's up to them. That's their problem.
Or it's lived its life on Xbox, and it is a dead game in that sense, in terms of everyone's got it, everyone's played it. It's not getting the numbers. It's not financially viable on Xbox, but PlayStation could make a profit out of it. So it doesn't mean it's a dead game. It just means that experience has been lived for some people. There's a reason films only stay in the cinemas for a certain amount of time, because people have been paid the money and they're not going to pay it again. Why would people do that on Xbox? Whereas there's a whole bunch of other cinemas, PlayStation, that would be like, yeah boy, give me that boy.
Exactly. Well, I think what it all boils down to is everybody has an opinion on something. It's whether or if yours differs, then who gives a shit? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is a game that me and you are both excited for. The reviews are nice. It just puts a nice little bow on stuff, and it gives me an idea of what it is that I'm going to be stepping into. Obviously, no spoilers. But I know for a fact that there's going to be... This game has been delayed twice this year. Three times this year. And I'm expecting a massive day one patch. And we're not even playing the next gen version yet. That could be an absolute shit show when they try to upscale them resolution next year.
I think the next gen version's probably more likely to be... polished. I think that's the thing as well, is this is a game that has been fraught with issues trying to combat the pandemic to come out, and I don't doubt it's not perfect. As much as I would love for the game to be perfect, some games you just feel are perfect as they come out. I don't feel like this one will be it. It's been delayed 3 times. There's a reason it got delayed just 3 weeks ago, and that's because it wasn't quite there. So it's not going to be 100%. If you're bothered by that, fine. Wait a couple of months. It will be patched out.
Absolutely.
What I will say is, anyone that tells you that this is a perfect game and pushes a false agenda is wrong. Anyone that tells you that this is a crap game and pushes a false agenda is wrong. It's not perfect. Not yet. It's close to it, though. 9 out of 10. Okay, 10 out of 10. Or it's 91, so we'll call it a 9.1 out of 10 game across the board. that's pretty much perfect. I mean, it's not, but I mean, you can't do much more to get. Well, you have to do something significant, and significant could be just a subtle change in direction for the narrative, or it could be a huge world change or whatever. The difference between a 9 and a 10 could be minute for some people or cataclysmic for others. So it's an exceptional game. It's clearly an exceptional game. It's buggy. Some people don't really like the story, and so what? It's like futuristic, steampunk-esque, like hyper-capitalism. Some people aren't going to be asked in that. Fine. Some people won't like the story in The Last of Us. Fine. It's a good game. If you want to buy it, go ahead and buy it. If you're not in a rush, okay, well, don't buy it. Wait a little bit, because it will be patched and it will be perfect. It's as simple as that. I'm getting the game. I'm
absolutely getting the game.
Despite the fact that it might be buggy as fuck, it's yeah.
For me, I mean, I've mentioned this a billion times now. I'm a single player guy. Do you know what I mean? I love to play games that have good story, right? And I will continue to play the game until the very last second, providing the story's good enough. If I get lost halfway through, then fair enough, it just goes back onto the pile that I'll get round to it whenever I can be asked. But if the storyline's good, I will play it all the way through to the end. There is films like Shutter Island, for instance, that people will absolutely despise because it's such a, I don't want to say controversial ending, but there's so many twists and turns in that film that
Leonardo DiCaprio one.
Yeah. And Mark Ruffalo, a fantastic film. People will hate that because of the way that it's either shot or the storyline goes, and that's absolutely fine. It's one of my favourite films ever. I absolutely love that film, but that's just the way it is. It's my opinion. I will play this game, and I will probably let people know once I've finished it how I find the game. I'm probably, like I'm playing through Days Gone now 2 years after the fact, I'm fucking enjoying this game, and I tweet about it all the time because I'm still yet to finish it, and I'm still plodding through it, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
How dare you?
I know, tell me about it.
How dare you?
Yeah, this could be a polarising game for a lot of people. Does it have high expectations? Absolutely. Has it been promoted to the hills and expect everyone to try and give it the biggest score possible? Absolutely. But will it deserve it? Who knows? That's entirely up to the person playing it. And that ultimately, that's when review scores, for me, can just get in the bin, because somebody else's opinion is all well and good, but that's their opinion, it's not mine. And it doesn't reflect everybody else that works at that place. So VGC, for instance, only one person is probably allowed to play it at this point, but the whole review has come from someone from VGC. There could be another 40 people there that might not have a chance to play it, and 20 of them might hate it. That's just review scores for places. It's something that I think we'll be talking about every single big game that comes out. It all comes down to review scores. Are you going to like it? Are you going to hate it? Only you can literally decide that.
I annoyingly can't go all the way up through the chat because the chat's popped that much that half of it's cut.
Yeah, mine can't go that far back, but
Asim saying that I can get up to Asim saying 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10 isn't perfect though. Absolutely. There's already been a patch for reviewers and a day one set for everyone else. Skill Up has already played 40 to 50 hours, says Tito. They had embargoed review copies. Also, apparently, the review copies had additional DRM protection, which could have affected performance. Additional DRM, yeah, that could definitely do weird things. In my reviewing days, I gave a few games 10 out of 10 with a perfect no. That said, they fully deserved it. Best in class, and I would recommend to anyone. Says Asim. Mr. Gary Clark says, I'm excited to play, but I'm glad I'm waiting until at least Christmas to play it, as hopefully a lot of bugs will be fixed.
Yeah, might be the best way.
Yeah, which is kind of what I did with... I almost did that with Jedi Fallen Order, but that had it had like a quick patch, and then it had a more substantial patch, and I played in between the quick and the more substantial. So I got some of the bugs, and then the substantial one came, and then yeah, the end of my game was seamless. So I'd absolutely recommend that completely. But there was a comment, annoyingly, he's left the room now. There was a comment about Bibby and Rogue Trader, but I can't see it now. It's gone off the thingy. I was going to come back to that. Ooh. Where did we get to? There we go. With Cyberpunk, sadly, there's a lot of people that want it to fail. Then with gamers who always have this conspiracy thing, negativity gets people talking, gets clicks and retweet shares. The fact that we're here with a game that has a nightmare Metacritic and we're focusing on the negatives. Exactly. It's the same. There's two camps, two trains of thoughts there, which is kind of the devil's advocate approach we wanted to take. Because it could be easy for us to just sit here and talk about a 90 Metacritic game, but you'll be like, great, nice, I can see that. So we started the conversation by looking at some of the negatives, and then wrap that caveat up in some of the positives. The whole meaning behind it is, though, it doesn't matter if it's got a 7 or a 6 or a 5 or a 2. Some people might absolutely enjoy a 2 out of 10 for what it's meant to be, and some people might enjoy a 2 out of 10 because it's horrendously bad and not what it's meant to be, but they still enjoyed it anyway. What's that film? There's a film that Luke... I've never seen it, but Luke always goes on about it, with the guy with the long black hair and is it like... I can't remember. I don't even know the quotes. But anyway, there's a film that people... Is it called The Room or something like that? People always come back to. It's a bit of a meme production because it was so bad that people watch it. I mean, you can get that sort of stuff around as well, which none of it is right and none of it is wrong. So bad is still a judgmental phrase. But for a game to have 3 delays... be wrapped the room. Yeah, that's the one. For a game to have three delays, be wrapped up in so much controversy around crunch and working practices, and then release a game that has bugs in it. To go through all that and still have a game that's hitting 91 on Metacritic, that's it. You're tearing me apart. Does it say you're tearing me apart, Lisa? Is it Lisa? I was going to say Janice a minute ago, so I'd have got the wrong name. But yeah, for a game to go through all that and still have 91 on Metacritic is absolutely phenomenal. Which is there where we come back to the devil's advocate. Did they get 91 because it's exceptional? Did they get 91 because they've rode a shitstorm? Or did they get 91 because it's okay and it's the opposite of the shitstorm? It's the adverse positivity that comes with marketing. Ooh, I mean, it's all sort of like... I mean... It's a bit of 6 and one, half a dozen the other. It's a bit of both. It's a bit of neither. It's a bit of whatever. I mean, what it comes down to though is, do you know what? There's a huge game and it's finally out on the market. And yeah, it's not perfect. All right, but do you know what? What game ever is? You show me a football game. Show me the best football game you've ever played. That's PS5, by the way. Show me the best football game you've ever played, and I will show you a football game that's not perfect. Is it the perfect football game that I've ever played? Yes. Is it a perfect football game? No. And that's what it all comes down to.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I've just seen Madge saying that Bibby should be the new presenter of Rogue Traders. Gary that said that originally.
Yeah, that's interesting. When you went out, I said the only thing with my chat going, and he's left the room as well, is there was a comment about Rogue Traders, and I didn't even get to mention it. It's gone off the bottom of my
Gary
chat
says
screen.
PES 2. Yes, Shagger. That is the best PES of all time. PES 2 is the best PES of all time, hands down.
I mean, yeah, if you turn the 2 down, like spin it, flip it to a 5, yeah, job's good, nice.
Pure football.
Okay. Madge, do you want to insta-permaban Asim? Pure football? Is that the Gerard one?
Yeah, that was the Gerard one that I picked up for £8, like 2 weeks after launch at Asda.
Ugh. Some things you just can't joke about, Asim. That's one of them. Yeah, the weirdest part for me is that none of the reviewers were allowed to use their own footage. I mean, that comes back to the weird situation thing. I think weird's a good one. It's not unknown. That happens so often in terms of if you want to review the game, here's the game and here's approved content to use in the reviews. Anything pre-embargo you can't use. So that's not new. I think it's a mixture of people being unaware of that and the same thing again, Cyberpunk stepping back from... We've had too much information over... Like, was it 3-4 Night City Wires, plus all of the conferences and all the extra bits that it's been in, to have so much of a splurge of information and then stepping back. I think it's that contrast is where it jars with people. Yeah. And it's not necessarily mistrust, because it's worked. I mean, doing it this way, Cyberpunk has released a game that's been delayed 3 times and does have bugs in it, but still has a 91 Metacritic. So, yeah, it's not perfect. From a viewer perspective, yes, it does make people ask questions, and absolutely, feel free to ask questions. You as a consumer can do that 100%. But it's when the questions go from, why have they done that? Yeah. It's to no, the reason they've done that is because it's shit and it's broken and then they want to sell copies. Is it though? How do you know that? Do you have proof that that is the case? No, they may have just gone, okay, to give us a fair representation, we will only allow you to show the content that we've recorded because we know it does a solid job of what the game will be. I mean, if if a company completely missells and says, here's some like video footage, yeah, you can roll the VT, job's good, but don't show any of the actual game because it looks nothing like that, then yeah, fair enough, that's misleading. But if it's just a case of this works and until the patch comes out or whatever, that's not going to be reflective of it, then yeah. I know there is a conversation of, okay, how can you review something that you've not played and so on, but I mean, it all happens.
Well, two things. First thing, do you reckon then when the game gets released officially that these news outlets, they won't change their review scores, but they will start to release some of the footage that they've captured themselves and write a news article about it? Second thing, they would have paid a lot of people for promotion of this video game, i.e. using this one as an example, not to disrespect to stream this on the day that it comes out, to, I imagine, hundreds of thousands of people, because they're going to want to see that. I mean, he gets like 80,000 people watching him at any given time, so an extra 20,000 on top of that to watch new Cyberpunk gameplay. That is a lot of trust that they have to put in him and their game to be able to show it off to that many people at the same time. Do you reckon then that he will be playing a different version of the game to them, so it would already be a pre-patched version of the game that he will be playing, rather than the buggy PC version that people will have already reviewed?
Unless there's something with him like appearing in the game, because I keep hearing rumours of people appearing in Cyberpunk, like different influences and things appearing. I don't know. I've not heard it. I just keep hearing like half stories, and I'm like, unless I see something from official sources, then I'm not that bothered. But unless there's something with him involved in it, I can't see that. I imagine it will be, having worked with numerous influencers at that level, it will be a normal Steam install. He will be playing the PC version on his triple 3090 RTX PC or whatever the heck it is got, ultra settings and job's good enough. I imagine he will just be playing the standard one, but they're happy enough with PC for it to be put out anyway, and then there will no doubt be a day one patch or something for the PC. That's probably not as significant as the console one, but if you imagine console makes up at least 50% of the market. I don't know what the share is for that website for that genre, but I imagine at least 50% of the market is consoles, maybe more. So for them to show something that's not going to be representative of the final product, you understand the reasoning for that. If their VT, if their B-roll matches the game, I don't have an issue with that. And I understand, and it does sound like it sounds like we're being robbed of freedoms in terms of, why aren't you showing me what I'm buying as a consumer? It's because you're not buying what they will show you in the review copy as a consumer. Both of them are wrong. It's one of them is B-roll, which technically isn't from that final product, but that's what it will look like. And one of them is a review copy that isn't the final product, and one that look like which one's the right, which one's the wrong kind of thing. And it's something I've seen many times. It comes down to way back to my degree, like the very first few seminars of my degree in journalism was based on your roles and responsibilities as a journalist.
Yeah.
And one of them is creating moral panics. You as a journalist have the skills and the functions at your control to make a panic. Make people panic about something. Could be panic buying consoles, it could be whatever. But you as a journalist should avoid moral panics, even if it's headlines, and headlines make sales, or clickbait, as it is in obviously modern day journalism. You should avoid a moral panic and just share the story as it is. We all know that doesn't work.
No,
people don't do that. People will create moral panics. I mean, who's got a PS5? Who struggled with a PS5? That's because a moral panic happened. Everyone, there's not enough. I mean, part of that is basic journalism. Some of it will be moral panicking. And yeah, coming off of this, journalists try to avoid moral panics. The thing that you shared with me the other day was a content creator, and I don't know this content creator. I've never watched their content, and I don't know what their background is. I'm going to make a blatant assumption here, which could be completely wrong, and if it is, I'm happy to be wrong. But let's just assume this person is a content creator that hasn't gone through any media training, and doesn't realise that them saying the fact that they are only going to be using B-roll in stuff in their reviews is basically them sharing marketing materials. My review is a review. It's not another marketing piece, so I'm not interested. It's a good take, but it's not necessarily the only take, and that can lead to a moral panic. So I don't necessarily agree with stuff like that, because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, there was a comment, I don't know if it's gone now, from Asim. Okay, a bit further up. It was something like, people would have been angry if it was delayed again. People are angry because of the review scores. You can't win. People would have been angry if they'd have had in-game content and it showed bugs in it, despite them not being in the final game. But people are also angry in the fact that they're showing content that's not taken from the final game. And it's just like, okay, which one do you do there then? It's a no-win situation. I think the best situation for me, though, is that the game comes out, people play it and enjoy it. Yeah, it's buggy, but then the patches come out and everyone else that doesn't rush out to get it, or the people that did rush out play it again, and it's wonderful. And over time, not rose-tinted glasses, but you forget the pain. Like childbirth, you forget how difficult it was and how magic it is that you've got this thing afterwards. So yeah, maybe this is just the labour part of the game, and then we'll be good.
Do you think then that going forward we change the way that we review games? In terms of now, this is shooting for the moon and hoping to hit the stars statement.
Yes, I do then.
Do you think then that people should only review the day one game, rather than reviewing the game that they get given 3 weeks before? I mean, in this it was less than a week, I think.
4 days. Some people had, which so jumping in there again, which that ties back into. I don't think CD Projekt Red are blameless in this. I don't think they have a PR agency. I think they do their own PR stuff internally. I could be wrong. But not that it's a PR issue, because there could be any reasoning internally, we don't know. But the fact that it's just B-roll footage, the fact that it's just PC versions of the game, the fact that they only give one version out, and the fact that they only did that 4 days pre-release, people are panicking, because when that happens in the industry, it's usually because something is broken, something is wrong, something couldn't be fixed. The next step after that is to not do reviews and just put the games out to the public and let people see. And then the reviewers have to buy their own games, which they always feel aggrieved and stuff about. I mean, video games don't have to be sent out for review. That's a marketing kind of thing, usually. It helps the reviewers and it helps the games. Same way with content creators, streaming games. It's basically a playthrough review that helps the games. There's both horses for courses. I mean, I think it's the culmination of all of that, though. Just seems weird. Like I say, is the contrast to the Night City Wires and the Splurge. But anyway, back to the moon.
Yeah, back to the moon. So, and these would have been given probably Steam codes. I imagine that is like version 0.75 that would have been given. Would it make more sense for them to have version 1.0 so they can review that, rather than playing the game 5 days before, reviewing it at that stage, which could be the difference between a 6.10, sorry, 6 out of 10, then a 9 out of 10. Do you reckon that they should have just been given like the 1.0, the day one patched version, rather than? Because I imagine, I haven't read every single review that's gone out so far, but I imagine most of it will say in there somewhere, we either hope that this will be patched out day one, or a patch will come to sort this kind of thing out day one. Along those lines would have been put in, I imagine, every single review, because they've been given early access to the game in a development state, we'll put, just to be nice. It is jarring. That's what most of the reviews have said. I mean, they've still been giving them perfect scores, but does the way that we review games, we video games journalists, and then we can talk about your stuff, change the way that they approach games?
I think there's always going to be issues, though, because there's comments in the chat. Before I get to the comments in the chat, good morning, Epic Skill. How you doing, dude? Enjoy your games. Mr. T in the chat was the one that hooked you up there. So Epic Skill was the guy that won our 2K giveaway. Also, good morning to Steel Bonsai as well, who just asked about the studio. This is the ICU studio. It's not in its full-fledged guise. This is a stripped-back version because of, social distancing and stuff. Eventually, we will be getting back in the sexy desk with the TVs and stuff built in. But for now, we'll just have this sort of coffee table set up. But yeah, I mean, one comment from Asim is they're most likely going to use GOG codes, GOG codes as well. It's CD Projekt Red. Yeah, well, I suppose they own GOG, so that's a good point. Very good point. But yeah, see, this is where we are in a bit of an echo chamber, us guys, because most of us in here are video gamers that play video games, and we're all sat watching a podcast that's talking about video games. So
because we all love video games, we're not here to take the piss out of anyone. We are here to open discussion between ourselves. For those of you that have been here more often than not, if this is the first time you're watching it, hello. Second time, we do like to play devil's advocate and get the guys in the chat. The chat has been flowing today with opinions, so that's exactly what we like to do. It's coffee morning, the morning show kind of set up for you guys to come and talk about the daily news. That's what all of this was about. So, yeah, the opinions will differ, but we more often than not we like to play devil's advocate and obviously get our opinions and the rest of you guys in the chat as well. So,
but the reason mentioning the we're all gamers in here and we're a bit of an echo chamber is because we all think the same thing.
Yeah.
Gary says, I don't think scores and reviews help as most people won't read the review. Just scroll to the bottom, see the score. This causes issues. As a 7 out of 10 is a good game. So is a 5 out of 10.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, a 5 out of 10 is a good game. But so many gamers class a 7 as bad when it really isn't. That's why a few years ago the industry was... There was definitely a bias towards giving games an easy 8, a safe 8.
Yeah.
If you give it an 8, it's not a 7, but it's not a 9 or a 10. And then there was a very little difference between 9 and 10s. It was just like, okay, 9 and 10s are really good. 8s is, okay, acceptable. Anything below 8 is shit. What is the difference between a 7 and a 1 then? Because that's a huge difference there.
Absolutely. 1 is absolutely unplayable. Like, you start up the boot screen and then it just falls apart.
Schmatterschmelz retribution.
Yeah. But 5, I think, is a very... 5 could be... I'm just trying to think of a game that I've played recently that I didn't really get into. There's probably quite a lot.
I can't remember the name of it, but there's always one game on the Xbox. It's not Crackdown. It was basically you're a dude that has like some sort of symbiote in you, and you can make your arms into points and stuff. And it came out in the same sort of time frame as Crackdown on 360. Anyway, it wasn't great. It was a decent enough game. I enjoyed the game and played it all the way through. So much so that my sister, who hardly ever played games, sat and watched me play through it all the way to the end as well. Decent enough game on its own. Not wonderful. I think there was a sequel to it which I never played, but that was probably maybe Prototype. That's the one.
Well done, Cedo.
Yeah, we smashed it. GG's. Yeah, it wasn't wonderful. It probably wasn't a 5 out of 10, but in my mind, I'd probably put in it 5-ish, 6-ish, maybe not a 7. Played through the game and it was great. It was fine. It was good enough. I got my time out of it. Just because it's a 5 or a 4 or a 3 doesn't mean that you're not going to get the full playthrough and not enjoy the game. And that's the thing. We all know that, and we will take that because we're all in here sat with. If you're 59 minutes and 13 seconds into a podcast about video games, you're not just here for the 10 out of 10, 5 out of 10 scores. You're here to hear a bit more. So that's where the issue comes in, is how do you change that for the people that are lazy and not lazy. That's judgmental again.
Yeah.
That's my echo chamber speaking. How do you change that for people that have, for them, better things to do? I like to play video games sometimes. I run. I cycle, I work, I just spend time with the family. I do whatever it is. I don't really play video games. So when I want to find out what new video games are coming out, I'll just go onto the internet and type out new games, and I'll see Eurogamer come up, and well, not Eurogamer, once again, they don't score it. GameSpot come up and go 7 out of 10. Oh, okay, fuck that then. But then they don't read down and say 7 out of 10. Actually, that was on the early build. Open the full version, we've readjusted. It's a 9 out of 10. They don't read that stuff. They don't get that stuff. So, yeah, it could be done better. How could it be done? Fuck knows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is my personal preference, and it's such an old person thing to say. Is way back in the day when you used to have to buy magazines because that would be the only way that you were able to get the information about the games that were coming out. It wouldn't even be one person's opinion. It would just be the marketing spiel that the developers or the publishers or whoever it is would have sent over to the official PlayStation Magazine, PC Gamer, or whoever it would be that are doing
they've paid for their front page kind of thing.
So you get an idea of what the game's going to be, and then it might just be one person that's been given the opportunity to play it, and they'll score it based off that. But the weeks leading up to the game's launch, the only way that you'll be able to find out if a game was half decent or not is by the marketing shit that gets sent out. Now,
demo disc.
Yeah, demo disc without day one patches and just a little snippet of what was available in the game. Nowadays, everybody has the opportunity to write about their game. We host a video games podcast talking about our experiences with video games, whether or not we've been a part of them, whether or not we've been active in the marketing of them, whether or not we've played them, and we're giving you our information. We are two people, may not be video games journalists, but we're giving people information regarding that game. Now, whether or not people trust our opinion is entirely up to them. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, because of the amount of shit that we waffle on. However, it's still our opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. All our opinions, whilst they're two opinions of northern idiots. They are thoughts and impressions based on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games, which are journalists. Usually, obviously, we can pull them from anywhere, and it could be like fan media, it could be YouTube content creators or whatever. We are giving you our thoughts and impressions on stories, not necessarily a proven accredited journalists. Some aren't, but that's the point. We never say that we are giving you cutthroat, be all and end all, well thought through. We might have an absolute undeniable smack down thought process and go pow, and you go, actually, here's a simple fact. Shit's all over that, and I go, oh okay, well,
how many times do we pull apart stuff that we read though? Like you'll read it out and then you'll ask me for my thoughts and impressions. It'll be absolutely nothing to do with the article that's been read, because I've just thought, actually they said this, what about, did they actually mean this, or did the people who made it actually mean this? Like most of the time that we read the articles, we pick apart the article and then give our thoughts and impressions based on the information that we've been given. We read other people's articles. Again, if you are someone in the video game world and you want to get your articles featured, then do hit us up. Ice Cream Uploads on Twitter and social media. We've got being your game_day. But we pick apart other people's work, essentially, and give our thoughts and impressions based on what we know or what we think. That's the whole part of video games and opinions, because everybody has one. It's just that we don't have a website where we review stuff.
Just going to jump back through the chat. I mean, we will move on a little bit now because there is a bit more conversation going. Some very good points here. See if we can find the response. Good morning, Daniel James Brewer.
Hey.
Yes, boys in the studio. Now then. Iceman says, in this day and age, reviews should be reevaluated on a consistent basis given the amount of games that are different from where they start, which is a great point. On the flip side, Iceman says a day one score should still stand in addition to how it plays in the final update, which is also a great point. But then that's when you start to get into murky waters in terms of, should the day one score stand because that's what you buy out of the box, or should there be, this is what the game is right now? So day one or now? The game came out and it was a 70. Now with all the updates, there's content, it's easier 93. Yeah. So I'm not. It's a day one 70 game, but I will not be able to play that game because it'll auto update and I'll get a 93. So which one is the right one? I mean, there's no right answer there. And then you start to get into realms of, okay, well, let's have a graph and show you it started here and it went up there and it went down there and it went back. And then that's when we get back to people don't even read the paragraph.
Yeah.
So they're not going to look at 5 numbers. I want a score, not a maths equation. And it's not a maths equation, but yeah, people see it as that. It's just. So
expect this time next year. Cyberpunk 1 year later, because by then, well, in fact, expect 2 more articles based on this from every other news outlet when the current gen versions go live. Xbox and PS5.
Do you know, I see this being. I mean, the fact that there's so much news and conversation regarding it on the moment, both sides of the Devil's Advocate playbook that we've been playing there, I expect a lot of. Look at all these bugs, just like we had. It was popular for magazines to look at the WWE bugs, and it's like, we know there's bugs. You've seen it, okay? It's not a new story. Have you seen this bug? And it's like, it's the same bug, but different from a different angle on a different player, and it's. If they don't squash those really quickly, if they do, it'll be fine. You'll get a little bit of humour on it, like having a bin swinging around the city in Miles Morales, job's good and bosh. It's gone though. They patched it out. It was funny, but now it's gone.
Yeah.
But if they don't patch it out straight away, which again, that's as huge as that, might not be something that they can patch out straight away. Okay, it was funny at first, but now it's just becoming downright stupid, and it's like, it's not becoming anything. It's still the same game.
The score never got hindered for it though.
What, on Miles Morales? Yeah, exactly. Which, see, I don't mind that, because I mean, I've not played it, to be fair, so I can't say anything. I mean, I've been playing remastered. No bugs in that, obviously, different game. But so only some people had it and it didn't break the game. Some people saw it. I understand. I mean, the differences in the conversations there versus WWE, there's a deeper conversation, more contrast to be drawn there. But yeah, I mean, where do you stop with the score? I don't know. I don't like the idea of a score, if I'm being honest. I like the idea of
an opinion.
Yeah, which is fine for me. If I'm reading an article that says this game is wonderful, it's day one though, it's buggy, it's not fine, the online doesn't work or whatever. And then you look at day 5, okay, the online patch was done pretty much as soon as my article went live. It's been fine for 5 days now, absolutely love it. The new DLC characters or whatever is wonderful, spectacular. And then I'm the kind of person that will read that stuff. That works for me. So it's kind of biased me saying, okay, I'd happily read another paragraph that says, actually, since then, the 2.0 update came out and it's just shit all over everything. Yeah. All the stuff that I liked is now gone and blah, blah, blah. Other people, if they're not going to read that paragraph, they're not going to read that one or that one. So I don't know. I don't know what the right answer would be. I think review scores do scratch a necessary itch in the industry, not the itch that I want.
Yeah, it depends how you digest your media, though. That's it. That's the be-all and end-all. If someone's listening to this, for instance, while they're driving the car, and I'm going to listen to an hour and 20 minutes of two northern blokes talk shit about video games, then that's one way of digesting it. There is YouTubers that I know whenever I want to know, like, for golf, Rick Shields, Peter Finch, if ever I need a club being reviewed, I'm going to go to them guys. If I want a game, it'll be Woods Beat 'em Up, IGT85, Dreamcast Guy, Spawnwave Media, all these guys that I know will get these games that I want to know about, and I trust their opinion. They don't usually give a full-on opinion. They would just deep dive into what the game mechanics are, which for me is more important. I want to know whether or not it's if it's an RPG element, if it's going to be turn-based, if it's going to be action-based, is it going to be a shoot 'em up. I want to know the mechanics of the game, not necessarily how the game plays out. The mechanics are what's going to make the game for me, not everything else around it. Storyline, game mechanics, that's all I need to know.
Absolutely. I will fast forward though, because we are over an hour in now.
Yeah.
Casey Dice, good morning, dude. He says, how has he gone? It's rolled off. No. If they give out bad reviews, studios won't send them review copies. Then they won't get their reviews out before everyone else and get the views for ad revenue.
That's a different conversation entirely.
Aston says, since I've been in this is a huge myth. The only way an outlet or person won't get review copies is something they've been rude or unprofessional.
Broken embargo, etc.
Sadly, you only hear one side of that, and the dev publisher is never believed. An example of this would be the dickhead that is Jim Sterling. Tito says, I watched some of Jim Sterling, but I'm hugely sceptical of him. He's made a name by being extremely negative. I won't take any notice of his opinion as clear as a slant to stay on brand. Do you know, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I am not the biggest fan of Jim Sterling. I don't work for Konami, but I work alongside Konami. But me and my teams have had some horrendous things said to us because of people like Jim Sterling. That's sensationalised. He is a journalist. I take that
in a character though. Character persona.
But character persona is fine if you're in a drama. A character persona that still influences people.
Absolutely, that's the difference.
And his character persona, I'm only a character persona. KSI is a character persona, and he did a lot of shit, changed his outlook on life, and KSI is actually a really good persona now. He's still a loud, brash persona, but he's not inciting people to go out and pretty much attack Konami employees. I know he's not said that, but we pretty much were attacked running social media accounts for them, and I've seen him do it not just on the Konami accounts that we work on, other accounts and so on, because it's fun or trendy to attack a brand. Like Cyberpunk might get attacked. It's trendy to attack a brand at a certain time, and Jim Sterling, his content is around trending. All social media content creators is around being in the latest trends, and if you can start a trend, then that's even better, because you get all of the praise and the plaudits as long as it's churning numbers, and it's easier to start a trend of hatred than it is to start a trend of positivity.
Absolutely.
Which is a shame.
It's all about being edgy nowadays, unfortunately.
Thing about reviews is they're a snapshot from one person who might not know the legacy of a franchise. For instance, if I did a review for the Star Trek 2009, it would lean towards mid to low, because I felt it told me as a fan who had watched the world building for 20 plus years just get blinked out of existence. We've had your money, now get lost. But for everyone who started with 09, the film is the best Star Trek ever. Exactly. One potential for plus side of day one score and final score is to grade quality of dev studios and publishers. It's a slow burn, but potential for earning long-term trust and customer confidence. Who the fuck is Jim Sterling? That's how it should remain. Jeff Sterling is the only Sterling I need. Raheem.
Raheem, yeah.
Anyway, we'll put a pin.
Have we ever got enough time to move on to
in that? I'm just going to have a quick look at them and see if there's anything. Do you know what? We'll mention one more, which is that one, just because it's more time relevant. And it wouldn't be a scoop if we weren't talking about next gen consoles and their availabilities.
I'm ready.
Bosh. Okay, jumping ahead into the next article. I'll move us over to the other side now. Oh, this one. Oh, baby's got a pop up. They want to send you notifications. Do you want?
Block.
So written by Michael Beckwith at Metro even. It's Michael Beckwith's taken over. It's slowly becoming the Metro. New PS5 Asda stock coming after Christmas. So not in time for Christmas, but after. However, game rumoured for next week. Asda has confirmed that it won't be getting any more PS5s until after Christmas, but others may be more lucky. It's no secret that the PS5 has been difficult to get hold of. Even those who successfully pre-ordered it had to deal with late deliveries or getting the wrong item entirely. Excuse me. And with Christmas getting closer and closer, those that missed the initial pre-orders are desperate to know when new stock will become available from anyone other than scalpers. There's currently still very little information, but new rumours may give people an idea of which retailers will be getting them and when to check. So when is new PS5 stock arriving for the UK? According to Twitter account PS5 Stock Info UK, several retailers will apparently have new stock available throughout next week. I'm going to read that tweet, even though it might come back over in the article. Updated summary of all restocking dates for some UK stores. Game UK on the 14th of December. Amazon UK, 14th of December. Tesco, 13th of December. Argos, the 16th or 17th of December. And Asda after Christmas. And Smiths, early 2021. And then the asterisks, reportedly. So basically, take it with a pinch, as it could be bullshit. But do you know what? Now you know, you can maybe change a little bit of your life just so that you've got an eye on the sites as and when.
I'm just going to retweet it now from Ice Cream Uploads.
Nice. If you want any information, we will update that when we get stuff that's a bit more concrete, as we did with the PS5 restock at launch. There was a lot of people throwing out rumours, a lot of which weren't true. We did share a thread of stuff. All of that was confirmed, and we won't share stuff usually unless it's confirmed. This isn't confirmed. We're just giving you a heads up. I mean, Asda have confirmed in a tweet within the article, a little bit further down, that they won't be getting the stock till after Christmas, so that's pretty much keep your eyes off that now. And I think Smiths have kind of done the same thing. But the gist is Tesco on the 13th, Game and Amazon on the 14th, and then Argos on the 16th or 17th. So there's a 3 or 4 day window where Game, Tesco, Amazon and Argos could hold what you need for the next year.
If you are listening to this podcast, so just go to Ice Cream Uploads on Twitter. I've just quote retweeted it, put heads up, keep your eyes peeled, and then all of the stuff that we just mentioned there is underneath. If you want to bookmark it, save it, like it, share it, or just keep it to yourself because you want to try and get a console, then feel free to do that. But we did actually mention this last week that we heard...
I'm disappointed that you kept on talking there, because when you went bookmark it, like it, save it, share it, I was going to go technology. Technology.
But yeah, we did actually mention this last week that we heard some rumoured stock, and now it looks like the rumours are actually starting to pick up a little bit. So again, another exclusive from Ice Cream Uploads that's coming straight into your earlobes. But yeah, feel free to go over, bookmark it and do whatever you need to do. There will be more consoles coming before Christmas. Whether or not they actually arrive before Christmas, who knows, but just get your pre-orders in and then it'll arrive whenever. At least you're not waiting around to, again, try to pre-order again.
And whether you can get hold of them, we'll see. The scalpers... Scalpers be scalping. But we are going to put a pin in things there. We do have a few more articles, including one mentioned on Scott Pilgrim. But we'll hold that for tomorrow because, you know, we're out of time. So thank you very much, everyone. Grant is coming with my... is coming today with my PS5. Is this true? Is this true? Oh, my chat's popped out.
Was it the one that you did? That thread, that giant thread?
Yeah.
So it must be that one because that's the last one we posted out.
So, did you get one off that thread, Magic Man? Because I can see you say the SU thread and console stock was very much appreciated. Well, if it worked, then do you know what? You are absolutely welcome. Obviously, it was all caveats of it was confirmed information, but it was confirmed information that other people had their hands on, so it wasn't an exclusive in terms of. You weren't the first in the queue. You just had to join. We directed you towards.
There, though, aren't they?
Yeah, we directed you towards the crowds. You weren't necessarily ahead of the crowd. Yes. Hey.
Great style.
Oh well, pleasure to be of service.
Welcome to Next Gen.
Yeah. Here, the new PS5 consoles are due in like February. Oh, really?
That doesn't surprise me. That's another thing that we mentioned last week, that we knew there was more coming before Christmas because there was obviously a day one release when the console came out in Europe. There was another wave that went out. There was another wave after that, which we discussed, saying if they're doing 2 waves now, there has to be another one before Christmas. Whether or not you're going to get it before Christmas was always it was an entire gamble. But as long as you have your pre-order, it doesn't really matter when it comes, does it? Because you're still going to be first in line when they arrive again.
And if you don't get your pre-order in, then Casey Dice and his crew have been hijacking vans, if anyone needs one. Just, rolling up in their blacked out Honda Civics with neon ground kits, projectile into the side of the van, tin opener down the side. I mean, somewhere between Fast and the Furious and Wile E. Coyote, that's everyone please stay away from games, says Steel Bonsai. Many thanks, I want my new Series X. But I was a pre-9am Curry's customer, so I was sweating buckets if my order was valid. Well, do you know what? I'm so glad that you've got one. So enjoy the PS5 when it arrives today. Get it plugged in. If you've got a PS4, do not do what I did and transfer it all via Wi-Fi, because that will take you 15, 16 hours. Get an Ethernet cable, 30 minutes, job's good.
Or just delete it from your old console altogether and download like 700 gigs worth of stuff like I had to do. So we both fucked up. This is why I shouldn't take what we say for gospel.
Do you know what? We go through the shit, so you don't have to. That's what it is.
That's the new tagline.
On that bombshell, we are going to disappear. Thank you everyone for joining us for yet another episode of The Scoop. We'll be back tomorrow, not from the studio, but back from the home setups, because, lockdown, social distancing and that. Before we do disappear though, babe, is there anything you want to throw in?
Absolutely, it's my birthday tomorrow, so get me some present bitches.
Yeah.
But alternatively, if you do have any video game news that you want to have your thoughts and impressions read out by, there's two ways that you can find us. First of all, find us on social media. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, as well as we've got with being your Graham_day. Second way, get into our Discord. It's a party in there most times. If you do have any news, there's an area in there called The Scoop. Just drop in the URL as well as your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions. At what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
Absolutely right on the money. Do you know, you get 9:59, then you get 10 a.m,
yeah,
and then just after 10 a.m you get ish.
It's very specific.
10 a.m. ish is when we will be live each and every single weekday. So be there.
We need to get a clock designed where it's literally just 10 and then 11's ish, 1, 12's ish, and all the rest of them just say ish around it.
No, up to 12, and then you start again then. 2. Hey. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. We absolutely appreciate you all being in. A lot of you in the stream and a lot of you with opinions. Not all the same opinion, different ones, and that's what makes it lovely. Thank you very much. Until tomorrow, have a great day and
stay frosty!